Hello and welcome to a very special talkie on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel. I'm joined today by Richy.
All right, guys.
And what we've got for you today is the first, not meta report or anything like that, but the first rundown of a tournament that has gone on. Basically, the first 2-day tournament, I believe, at the TSN Arena by the Honest Wargamer guys. They've got, obviously, YouTube channel. He's the Slapchop guy. Everyone should know him. So yeah, Richie, you played in it across 2 days. Correct me when I'm inevitably wrong on this. You got first for combined scores of like tournament and like coolest dude.
Yeah. So basically, I came fifth in the normal kind of GT rankings. So I managed to get 3 draws, 2 wins, come fifth. And then basically something he did was best overall. So that was with all of the secondaries combined. So that was with best army, like nicest person to play against. And then there was like this little card that he did as well. We had to like note down all of the banners that you captured, the generals that you killed, the monsters you slayed. And basically that all added together, I managed to win. Crazy.
Nice. So you were actually playing Dwarfs, weren't you?
Yes, so the Dowie.
Yeah, so Wohammer is woefully wrong, and they're not actually completely written off and out of it if you want to go to a tournament and have a cool time.
It's all right. They can keep saying that because then everyone underestimates you, charges and dies. It's fine. I'm really happy with that. It's fine. I don't mind.
Do you know what? When I heard about you doing so well at this, my first reaction was yes. Like, it will just mean that everything is underestimated and sort of proves for all those armies that are at the lower end of the rankings that it's all bullshit anyway.
I just think like people need to play the armies. They need to find out what works for their play style. Like, because loads of people are just jumping on what everyone online's saying. This is the best unit for that. This is the best unit for that. Don't listen to anyone. Find your own way. Like everyone's saying that Dwarf Hammers are the way forward. I dropped them out my list because I think they're a bit of a trap. You've got to find the thing that suits your play style in the army that you want to play with. Like, I think I've had probably about 25, 30 games with my army. And I've swapped and changed units left, right, and centre. And I think I've kind of got down where I want to play with them now. But then again, I'm still swapping out like runes and swapping out everything all the time. So it's a fine balance, man. I think all of the armies are in a relatively good place, apart from Empire.
Oh no, I've literally just been saying off camera that might be my next army. But
it's right, you just want loads of demigriffs and you'll be fine, mate. 100%. It's just a little armor state getting them, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, shall we go over then your army, which I must say is absolutely beautifully painted.
Thank you very much, mate. So they're all Highland miniatures, all 3D printed, which kind of lends themselves really nicely to be painted, to be perfectly honest. Like, they haven't got too many like crazy details on them or anything, so it's really fun to paint. Really fun. I really enjoyed them.
No, quality. So this was a 2K tournament, right? And what actually made it into? You say you chopped and changing. Well, here's one, and this is a bit of a curveball because I didn't like ask you to prep this answer.
Yep.
What were your initial thoughts with Dwarfs? And then what did that eventually meld into of your 2,000 points?
Right. So my initial thought was, which is what I painted up straight away, was I painted up a unit of 35 hammerers. So I was going to have 35 hammerers, 10 wide, King, BSB, Runesmith, all in the one unit, and create this kind of like murder ball that was going to walk up the middle, hold, people are going to charge me, I get extra attacks. So it's got the Rune of Hesitation on, the Rune of Confusion. So your knights charge into me, you don't get any rend, you don't get the initiative bonus, so I get to hit you first, all that malarkey. Doesn't work at all. Dragons kill them.
Very simply.
Yeah. Like, I had loads of games of that. Like Beastmen. So Tom Carley's Beastmen went through them absolutely horrendously. My mate Alex, his dragon just absolutely murdered me. My mate Mike, his high elf dragon even went through him as well. The problem is, like, you get all of these buffs on paper and you look at stuff and you're like, oh, that's absolutely brilliant. And then in practice, they're just, I don't know, I find them quite mediocre, to be honest. Like, and if people are charging things that get affected by that, so if you're charging knights into hammers, that's your fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, people can play around them because you can only move 3. Like, max you can move is 6, so you can get out position really easily. So you've got to be really clever, Smaller units are a bit better. You don't want to go any big blobs, really, in my opinion. But that's just what I found. Obviously, people can find ways that work for them a lot better. I've just found ways that kind of work for my playstyle personally. So I've kind of dropped down all of the units a lot smaller. I don't have a unit bigger than 17 models.
Not bigger than 17?
No, man. No. So I've got 17 Longbeards. I've got 17 Warriors. I've got 15 Ironbreakers, a unit of 5 Warriors just to go on the flank, a Gyrocopter, a Bulk Thrower with Rune of Skewering, and 3 units of MSU Iron Drakes.
And that's with the Trollhammer torpedoes.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Of course it is. Now, would you be willing to share your army list if I drop it down in the comments for later on?
No problem at all. So my army list that I did put into the event, there was a mistake on it, which was I was showing that on the morning before, but my list was already submitted. So basically, I took the hit on the points. So the Lord has got the Rune of Adamant. So
that's the toughness 10.
But I also put the Rune of Preservation on him, which obviously I couldn't take. So I would have been cheating. So basically, I took it off, just took the hit on the points. So I wasn't actually playing with 2,000 points, unfortunately. But that's fine.
As in, like, you removed the king, or do you just?
No. So I just didn't take the Rune of Preservation on him. And I didn't put any other runes on him to make up the points or anything. So I just left that off.
Right. So one thing that I found, because I've been playing with the Rune of Adamant for the toughness 10, right? And it's a bit of Dragon Lord insurance. Of when someone's got the killing blow, like, you ignore my regen armor, but that's when I've got the rune of 2 up against 1 save. I can't remember what it's called, like 2 up ward against 1 save.
Yeah,
it's like, a killing blow, 2 up, and it just like fits in quite nicely within that. It comes to 120 at that level, and then you can have, like, I don't know, Rune of Flaming Axe or whatever to kill ethereals.
So I'm playing around with a kind of a different way at the moment. So I'm trying Rune of Parrying. So it's -1 to hit him. So your weapon skill 7, so most stuff's going to be hitting you on 5s probably. And then 2 Runes of Fortitude to take him up to toughness 7. And then the no killing blow one. And then the Rune of Furnace to get a 3-up ward against flaming attacks and magical flaming stuff.
Yeah, because that's so cheap that as well. You might as well just have it in there if you
Yeah. And so it's like most stuff will be hitting you on 5s and then wounding you on 6s or 5s. So strength 5 is going to be wounding you on 6s. So it's kind of the same utility, but you get the ignoring killing blow, which I think might be the way to go. I think.
Yeah, like it's worth a try. Like, and for the exact runes, obviously, that'll be down below for everyone that wants to check it out. I've actually been playing around with, and I used it this weekend. I thought I wasn't going to talk about my event this weekend because it didn't go.
Do it, mate. Do it.
No, it wasn't.
Feed the tears. Feed the tears.
I thought Rich's experience is both much better because he did quite well.
So I'll get slammed. Take one for the team.
Yeah. No, like I know, like I played Dwarfs, right? The first time I played Dwarfs, so I just got rammed for 3 games. But one thing that I was doing in it that got defeated by movement value more than anything else. Demon Slayer with 2 runes of striking, so he's now weapon skill 9. So weapon skill 4s are hit you on 5s, and then a Rune of Parrying means that weapon skill 4s are hitting you on 6s.
Nice.
Like it just it's meshed quite well across. As much as all the failings of the rest of the list happened across the weekend, like that one worked. Yeah. So I thought I'd just chip in that little one because I know Demon Slayers are not great. But
no, to be fair, nothing's really that great in the Dwarf lineup, to be perfectly honest. Like, so there was 2 Dowie players, and we were just trying to get draws, man. Like we were just real hunkering down and just trying to, like, I wanted 5 draws, to be perfectly honest. Like, just wanted to hunker in, just go on, I will not lose.
Get some grudges.
Yeah. I did actually write down a load of grudges. Actually, my first opponent, Rick, hell of a guy. Basically, his forest dragon was causing a ruckus. So whenever it was killing stuff, it's like, right, it's going in the book. Way Watchers killed my Runelords. Right, going in the book.
Right. Well, shall we, like, since you've naturally flowed onto it, shall we go into your first game? Like, obviously it was Wood Elves, as you've said. And do you want to just give us a bit of a rundown of the game and what your tactics were with your list?
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, I'll just start saying, brilliant event. Rob's always has amazing events at the TSN. It's great. 24 players, so it was quite a big variety of armies and stuff. Really nice event. Guys need to go there. It's real fun. Really nice vibe. Everyone was really sound. Didn't have a bad game, which was really, really good.
Well, that's a big shout for, do you know, like when you go to events, you've got 5 chances of good or bad games, and to say that you had 5 good games.
Yeah, 100%. It's like we were saying off camera before, like normally you play against one knobhead, don't you, to be fair, normally. But nah, it was good. Everyone was real sound. And just the entire vibe was great. Everyone's really excited about the new game. It's just nice to kind of jump in at the start and just kind of, you can help mold the scene then as well, really, a bit. So keep it positive. Good.
Yeah. So this Wood Elf army, you've got Dragonlord in it that's in the picture at the moment. That's one thing that's causing a lot of people problems at the moment. What was the outcome of the game? Did you manage successfully to deal with the Dragonlord? And how the hell did you do it if you did?
Right, so Rick, absolutely legend of a bloke, he's a hero. I actually grudged him before the event because I didn't know he was taking a dragon, and I was like, right, I really want to play against him because I haven't played him for years. So I messaged Rob and was like, right, as I'm a dwarf player, let me grudge the elf, let me grudge him, and he let me do it. So we played, and I regretted it as soon as I saw he had a dragon. So basically, dragon, loads of skirmishing, way watchers, some dryads kicking around. There was 2 kind of biggish blocks of archers and then a spellcaster. So he was doing all this like movement shenanigans, kind of like zipping around the board, teleporting, and he just wasn't letting me get close to him. But he had to send on one flank. So he sent his wild riders and his dragon down on one flank. And basically what that did was kind of create this funnel zone where he was coming into me. So I had my iron drakes. So 2 units of them pivoted round, shooting at him. Didn't really do too much damage. I think I managed to do like 2 or 3 wounds to the dragon. Bolt thrower managed to take 2 wounds off it because with the Rune of Skewering, no armor saves allowed, which is pretty good. Strength 7 as well. It was wounded on freeze. So I think he'd lost probably about 4 or 5 wounds before he got into combat. He managed to murder the Iron Drakes, then plow through them into my unit of warriors. I then the next turn lost a round of combat with the warriors. I give ground to move back.
Yeah, is that using the shield wall? Or
yeah. So while all of this is happening, my Dwarf Lord, who's probably about 12 inches away, has hopped out of his unit of Longbeards and he's pegging it by himself all up towards the Dragon Lord. And yeah, managed to get the Dragon Lord in, and they have like a good on tussle for probably about 2 turns, and then managed to kill him in the end. So that was good fun.
Oh, nice. And this is something actually that we've been talking about a bit at the start of the Old World. Like, how is a dwarf player? And it's like Shieldbearer Lord with Adamant is just because obviously the strength of most things comes to about 6 or 7, like, or most lords, I should say, 6 or 7. Dragons 6.
It's wounding him on 6s with
yeah. And it mitigates so much incoming, even if you've not got enough points to get another ward save all the time. It's very.
There is a really good tactic to kind of mitigate him though. So if you're playing against dwarves, if you're playing with a dragon, if you've got like a lone champion running around with the dragon, so dragon ogres can do this with the Shartax. So if you send the dragon and the Shartax both into a unit with a Dwarf Lord, the Dwarf Lord's going to offer out a challenge, isn't he?
Yeah.
You always stick with the Shartax or the champion, and you can kind of mitigate the goodness that a Dwarf Lord can do. I mean, I shouldn't really be saying that, but it is a good tactic.
Yeah, well, it's we've got to give both sides of the coin, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be
completely eliminate the toughness 10 thing and just murder everything around him, to be honest.
Yeah, but I suppose that's where it comes into it. Like, you've got, as a dwarf player, you've got your bolt throwers, your MSU Trollhammer torpedoes. That should be where you're focusing them. Do you know, like, maybe not into the dragon all the time, into the Shartak, because you know your Lord can then.
100%. The problem we've got with dwarves, like a couple of other armies have got the issue as well, is we just don't deal that much damage, and it's a real struggle. So you've really got to pick down what you want to kill, where the points are going to be for the mission. Because if you just randomly start shooting little shots off into units, you're just going to get tabled. So you've really got to focus fire on units that you think are going to be either worth the points or going to do damage to you once they get to you. Because a good thing that the dwarves can do is keep stacking all of the combat reses. So if you've got a big unit coming at you, say like a unit of 30 orcs or something like that, start taking some of them out, whittle that down, get them so you can combat res them out, and then you're running over the top of them. That's pretty much the way to go, really.
Yeah, and Dwarves do have a lot of options for stacking combat res, like Runes of Battle being in there, and a War Banner is, you can have it once in your list as a normal army, where Dwarves being able to do multiple different combinations, including that +1 combat res.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can take 3 Runes of Battle in your armies. You can take 3 of them. Then you can take I can't even remember what the +1 for everything around you is. What's that one called?
I want to say Grungni, but
no, Grungni's the
5-up ward.
Like, yeah, Redbeard or
yeah.
Like
make it up. Let's make it up. It's the
yeah.
Master Rune of Snorri McSnorrison.
That'll do, mate. We'll take that. That's
yes.
what I'm calling it. So we got a funny one like that. So in my local gaming group, I was writing Runelord and it changed it to Tubeless. So now every time that we mention in the Runelord, it's Tubeless. So
Tubeless.
I don't know, it just auto-corrected it for some reason. I have no idea. But fun fact about my Runelord, actually. So it's the Hyder Miniatures female runesmith model.
Yeah.
And basically called her Angry Amy. So my partner's Amy. So she's actually leading my force, which is quite funny.
So you were actually taking a Runelord, right? Because I found it just completely useless. Like I was thinking maybe go down to a runesmith and having it as just like a scroll caddy. And I hate scrolls because they're just like the no fun button. But I found they just weren't good enough to deal with level 4s.
Nah, Runelord's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I've been running, I tried running Runesmith for ages. I tried running multiple new Runesmiths. What I did at this event was the Runelords right at the front with the 3 runes of Dispel, the basically fuck no spell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you can swear in it. We're all friends. We're all friends.
Yeah, so basically I took 3 of them. So just being like kind of really obnoxious turn 2. So turn 1, usually the opponent's spells are out of range. Then turn 2, when they actually want to do the really important spells, you're like, fuck off, nothing for you.
Yeah.
So, and to be fair, mitigating a really spell-heavy army's turn 2 spells can win you the game.
But if you're taking a Lord and just using the, like, what is it, Spellbreaking? Rune of Spellbreaking? You could just do that on a Runesmith.
No, you can't, because the Runelord gives you the extra points to be able to spend to be able to take 3.
So it's specifically you wanted it for 3.
Yeah. So I did want it for 3. I've actually changed that now. So my new list coming out of the weekend, I've put the Rune of Calm in. The one that if you get it off on a spell, it's -2 to your casting.
Yeah, what is it, bound level 2?
But you can't miscast on it either.
No, well, I knew that one. I knew that one from like everyone trying to Ruby Ring of Ruin me.
But, yeah, so there's literally no downside. So you might as well take that. And then if you get a really high roll on it, so suddenly everyone within like, I don't know, it's like 36 inches or something. So that's -2 to their casting. Then if they're casting a spell on the unit that's got the Runelord in it, that's -2 onto that as well. So something that's -4. And then you're +2 to your cast. So suddenly if they're trying to cast like something on you, that's -6 really.
Yeah.
What you want, mate.
Yeah, true. Well, so it's the Runelord is only -2, right, for his magic res. He's only a level 2 Dispeller though, so he only gets -1.
Yeah.
But he's, and the thing that I was thinking about the Rune of Calm is it doesn't take away from their roll, so it doesn't make any easier for you to dispel. It adds to their hardness. So when it does go off, you're like, oh.
But that's then when you pop one of the Runes of No.
Touche.
I mean, it can't to get their casting a bit worse. Like, that's all you need, man. Like, the amount of times that people didn't get a spell off because they're casting on the Dwarf unit, and that -1 proper screws them over.
Yeah, it's
clutch, man. It's clutch. You got to take it.
So, but in conclusion, you are taking Runes of Spellbreaking.
Yeah. I think they're probably one of the best things in our section of the book. I think, like, they're so good. Like, we've got nothing that we can do in any of those phases like that. So to be able to just stop it is really powerful. Because if someone's getting off this massive vortex, it's going to like ping down all your lines. You're just like, nah, no.
Yeah, and it just needs to happen, I think. Rather than, whereas in sort of Sickbed, which is where we know each other from, you could dispel much more effectively because you've got all these dice in the mini game. In the old world, you don't get so much.
No. And the thing is, like in previous editions, like 6th edition, like if you're taking more than 1 or 2 dispel scrolls, you're seen as a bit of a dick. But I think the problem in this is because spells are everywhere. Like one of the guys at this event had 3 level 4 wizards. So it's just like, if you're coming with that, I'm not being funny. You cannot call me out for having 3 dispel runes. Like,
I wouldn't dream of it. But maybe that's the Empire way to go, because you get some pretty cheap wizards. I'm going to take 3 level 4s, get fucked everybody else.
I think the best tactic with Empire is get an Empire wizard on Pegasus, get the battle magic, get the lore familiar so you can pick the vortexes, just fling him down the line so you can get down like the whole line of their army and just throw a vortex that pings all the way through the entire army. It's the way to go, man.
That is the way to go, is it?
Yeah.
Right, speaking of power levels, how did you find Wood Elves, and what do you think of their like overall power level at the moment as it stands? Maybe this could be maybe I could rope you into doing like Richie's meta report, the reporter on the ground all the time.
Do this, mate. Let's do this. Well, to be fair, I've booked into like a load of events, so more than happy to help, mate. So Wood Elves, really good, like a real tricksy, man. Like they're definitely winning the movement game at the moment. They're just everywhere. They're behind you. Really good. I think the skill wall with them is really, really high though. But I think as soon as people start learning how to play them really well, they're going to be an absolute nightmare to play against. They're just such a good denial unit because like all of their bows are such good long range. Like they don't have to come anywhere near you if they don't want to. So they can just maneuver around you, teleport into a wood on the opposite side of the board. Like we spent quite a while before our game started talking about where the best place for him to put his extra wood would be. And it's just trying to work out whether it wants it to be closer to me so he can then teleport into it and charge out, or if it's more on his side so then he can teleport over there and keep pinging shots. Yeah. And really fun army, like really good. I had a really good game against him. But he did move away from me and do a lot of denial stuff, which is bloody elf shenanigans.
Well, that's it. That's always been their thing, isn't it? And he's, as you said about like the skill ceiling a bit, they're such a glass cannon army.
Yeah.
That is the game. They sort of play differently than any other army, I think, in the old world or in any fantasy edition. I
mean, you're basically playing Sigmar. Like them and Beastmen are basically playing Sigmar right now, to be fair.
What with all you just have tainted like sort of Tom Carley goggles.
Well, yeah, he's definitely playing Sigmar.
Well, right, shall we go on to a much more normal, maybe old world army, which is Bretonnians? Second, is it?
Sweet. So my second game was against Ryan with his beautiful Bretonnian army, like absolutely stunning, perfection. Right, it looked so good playing against him. Like I literally had to keep getting people to come over and look because the game was just looking gorgeous as it was going on. So he had some really bad luck actually, which was kind of good in my favour, I suppose. But he just lined everything up, just charged forward. I had set my Iron Drakes and I've got a MSU unit of warriors. So basically I had a line of stuff in front of my entire army. So there's no way that any of his first charge units could get to any of my stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to charge into the MSU units that all of the Iron Drakes have got quick shot. They've all got so that they can shoot in, and the dwarf, is it dwarf accuracy or something? So basically I'm
crafted,
on threes with the Drake guns as you're charging into me. Strength 5 -1, obviously armor bane. So just killed loads in return. Like he had a massive unit of Knights of the Realm charge into a unit of Iron Drakes, and I won the combat and he ran away.
Into a unit of Iron Drakes, 5 of them.
Yeah. Like he literally all of his stuff apart from the Pegasus just bounced, which was it was crazy to see, to be perfectly honest. Like his dice just weren't with him at all, which was nuts. Like he charged a unit of Knights of the Realm. There was only 3 left at this point because the bulk thrower had been through them. But he charged 3 Knights of the Realm into my bulk thrower and lost combat and run away.
Oh, got it.
Which was glorious.
Well, I imagine you did get the +1 for being on a hill.
You know what? I completely forgot about that, actually.
Oh, Richie.
Would have won even better.
The +1 for being on the hill, man.
Yeah, I always forget about high grounds. It's the Anakin special, isn't it, I suppose?
Whoa, you misremember it. It's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, no, but Anakin...
It's over Bretonnian Knights. The dwarves have the high ground. Everyone knows this.
This is true. If you have the ground, you win.
Yeah, exactly. There's just nothing anyone can do against it. Now, did he have 3 units of Knights of the Realm, or did he have anything funky?
Right, so there was, I'm pretty sure it's 3 units of Knights of the Realm. There was a unit of Grail Knights, which he didn't start in Lance formation because he was really scared of the Bolt Thrower, which, to be fair, did eviscerate 3 Run Knights of the Realm, so it was probably good that he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Had 2 units of Pegasus, and then he had a Duke or a Baron, whichever one the top one is.
Yeah.
Flying around with them. So all of the flappy fucking horsey bastards. So they all went round my one flank and started killing my like rubbish units, and then they all got stuck in combat with the Iron Breakers for literally the rest of the game. Like, you just couldn't do a thing. The Iron Breakers just kept moving back, and then so this is the second game. I had to send my Lord out of his unit again, just because I'd blocked myself in with my cover, because I didn't expect the Iron Drakes to survive any of the charges, but they did. So I had to like get my Lord out and get him running up.
Oh no, I've done too well. Like, everyone survived.
I didn't expect it. Like, it was such a good game. It was really fun, really backwards and forwards. I just think that Ryan's dice just betrayed him, to be perfectly honest. That was more luck on my side than any skill, to be honest. Then the Dwarf Lord run up. We had 1 round of combat, and then that was the end of the game. So we got a draw on that one because we murdered each other a little bit, to be fair. Basically, just because he killed a lot of my MSU stuff, really. And also, I didn't realise this, but I'd killed all of his units of knights down to 1 man that were all fleeing at the end, and you don't get the points for them unless you kill the entire unit. You only get half points if they're under 25%. So I didn't even get
25% of the points you get.
Yeah.
If they're under that, I'm sure it's 25% that you get. It's ridiculously small. It's
So basically, I killed all of his knights, but didn't get any of the points. A nightmare.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've got to like literally exterminate the unit, otherwise you're getting a tiny amount.
I didn't even realise that. The problem is because I've been playing too much 6th edition, so you're like, yeah, I've got half the points now. I'll be all
right. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not going to say this. Anyone that wants to know the story that I was just about to tell, the Old World Battle Report that comes out next against Beastmen, you will find out the conclusion of that story. So you said the Iron Breakers held up that flank with a couple of units of Knights and the Lord. Now, you only had 17 Iron Breakers? 16. Is that a 4x4 block to get the combat res? Or how are you running them?
Yeah, so because I'm stupid, I went 6 wide, so it was basically like 2.5.
Right, okay. Yeah, because you're going to get the 2 combat res, but as soon as 1 dies, you're not going to get any more.
Yeah, which I didn't really think about at the time. I was just like, yeah, 6 wide looks cool. But they've got the Banner of Hesitation on. So basically, every knight unit that charges them, they're on a 3-up reroll in 1 save.
Because they don't get their lances on the charge. So
yeah, man. And then as soon as something's stuck in combat with them, 3-up reroll in 1s. They just don't move. They don't die. Like, absolutely brilliant unit. Like, I 100% would recommend trying them at least. If you've been using hammerers, just try a unit of Iron Breakers instead of them. Like, loads better. And if you're worried about the damage output, just put a Thane in there. Just put a Thane with a great weapon, maybe like 2 Runes of Fury, and he'll do the damage on the front line, and the Iron Breakers won't die.
Right, and that's why you subbed out the hammerers, was it?
Yeah. I was just dying too quickly. So, like, if you're playing against dragons, for instance, dragons will slam into you. They don't get any bonuses for charging, so the Rune of Hesitation doesn't do anything. The Rune of Confusion doesn't do anything. So they're hitting into you, and even if you've got the Rune of Grungni on the hammerers, they've only got a 5-up ward because they've got a 5-up save standard. I mean, people can say, "Oh, you can take shield and hand weapon," but no one's ever going to do that because you want to proc the big hammers, don't you?
Yeah. Because otherwise, why are you playing that unit? Like, you might as well play Longbeards if you're going to take the hammerers with that.
Yeah, like they might as well not have the shield wall rule because you're never going to use it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're never ever going to use it. But when I was playing them, I was kind of averagely losing about 11 dwarves a turn against the beefy dragon lords. So, and it's just ridiculous. Like, there's nothing you can do against such wanton hate. You know what I mean? Like, with a 5-up save, you're just going straight through it. So they're just killing at will. So I tried the Iron Breakers, and they've got a 5-up save, re-rolling 1s against dragon attacks.
Like lances, anything with AP -2.
Yeah,
they're going
exactly.
to be.
And then put the Rune of Hesitation on them. You don't have to worry about lances. You don't have to worry about impact attacks. The only thing you've got to worry about is dragons. And then those dragons, it's a 5-up save, re-rolling 1s with a 5-up ward if you've got the BSB in there.
But only after the first turn, because on the first turn, the champion takes it.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. It just gets eviscerated. Then you've got your MSU unit right next to it to then charge in your turn, and then he takes it.
Yeah, so this
into your MSU units.
And adds another close order.
Yeah. This is I've seen a couple of people do reviews of the list I took on the weekend, and they're like, why have you just got little MSU units of warriors and stuff? And I was like, right, so flank, close order, and he can do a challenge to get me out of the mess. That's an extra 2 combat res, and that guy can sacrifice himself. Brilliant, love it. That's so good.
Yeah, do you know when you first, because we talked about this sort of, was it a month ago? We was talking about dwarf thoughts, and I was like, man, big dwarf units have really been successful against me at least.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't clicking. And then it's actually, since I've been writing the Empire list, that these MSU units to just be what the hell am I going to do against knights? The Empire detachment is the same with dwarfs, except you're not getting the detachment rule. This 5-man unit is just going to be able to break the first charge, add close order to things, and stack up that combat res in. And even just you get your Lord in there with Rune of Adamant, tank all the wounds in the challenge. And even if they do 1 or 2 wounds to you, he's just right, well, I've got a full unit behind me with full combat res, and I'm going to bounce you. And hopefully I've got 6 gyrocopters lined up so that you bounce off the table.
Well, this is the thing. While we're on the topic of gyrocopters, so the best thing I found gyrocopters for is just keep them back or fly completely over. Don't worry about shooting. Wait for the opponent to charge you, and then charge them up the ass. So you get the +2 combat res.
Well, it's that, or when they fall back in good order, if you're stood right behind them, well, half of them now die because they've gone through a unit.
They've obviously got a roll on the
Oh yeah. I mean 50-50,
yeah, half 50. But I don't know. You can't really rely on that. And the only problem with that is you're going to really struggle at catching them with that dwarf unit if you've got a gyrocopter there. That's the only issue with that tactic.
True. I'll bow to your superior wisdom. I'm not here to question.
No
not after this weekend.
No, there's no wisdom, mate. I just the luck of the dice gods were on my side. That was all that happened.
Don't listen to him, listeners. He's an expert. He's an expert, despite what he says.
No, really not.
I'm just trying to pile on the pressure, Richie. I'm just trying to pile on the pressure.
Oh, cheers, mate. Cheers.
Yeah. So, shall we go on to the third game of Tomb Kings?
Yes. So basically, I played against Darren in that game, which was a mortuary cult list. I didn't take any pictures of that one just because it really threw me, because it was a full shooting. So basically, he had 2 massive units of Abshabti with bows. That was at the front, so I was about 30 inches away, and then he had all of his heroes behind with their little swarms to take the wounds off and heal and all this kind of stuff. And he had a dragon on Lynch, Lynch priest on dragon. He had that hid behind a building, so I couldn't see it, basically. And then he had a Necrosphinx, and the Sepulchral Stalkers were in ambush. So his plan for them was do that death from below thing, or whatever it's called, pop up and do, I think it was 15 toughness tests, or no, 15 initiative tests. Yeah, which obviously initiative 2 dwarves, I was shitting it, to be perfectly
the old
honest.
Pit of Shades trick.
Yeah, so good, amazing. To be fair, that should have done a lot more for him than it did when that came up, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So basically, big line of Abshabti, and I was shooting him with the bolt thrower, moved up the iron drapes to try and shoot into him. I was just plinking wounds off. And then every turn, he was just healing them. There was nothing, there was no damage that I could do that he couldn't just bring them back. So I kind of give up with that. I was too worried in the deployment of what his shooting could do, because I just kind of overestimated it. So the first turn, I'd got all my units in march column, and I'd got my iron drakes in front of each of my units, because I was like, right, he's going to kill my iron drakes first, and then I'm going to march through and just kind of bomb up the field to him. First round of shooting, he killed one dwarf. So I then completely blocked myself in and just couldn't do it. I got really stuck. So like for the first 2 turns, I kind of got stuck there. I couldn't really do too much, like wheeling the Iron Drakes out, all that kind of stuff. Managed to get out and just started to run at him. But every turn, which this is a valid tactic, like it's a bit of a no game for him really, but he kept moving back 2.5 inches and shooting the Abchabti, because obviously they don't get any negatives to moving and shooting, do they? So he's moving back, I'm getting further towards him. And then I think it was like turn 3 or turn 4, like I'm halfway up the board now, so my Dwarf Lord's running up with his unit, and he pops out some Sepulchral Stalkers, and he runs his Necrosphinx in, so they're like basically together. And they do that Dwellers from Below thing, and he manages to do it's like 15 initiative tests, and somehow my terrible rolling saved my life. And I think I only lost like 7 Iron Breakers or something. So my 7 Iron Breakers are just chilling there, looking at these Stalkers, being like, "Oh crap, this is not good." So the next turn, I can't remember why I didn't charge. That's beginning of the turn, something like that. I can't remember the order it went in, but he charged the Necrosphinx and the Stalkers into my Iron Breakers, and he got 18 hits through at no rend from the Stalkers, and I tanked all of them and didn't take a single wound with the Iron Breakers. 3 up save, re-rolling 1s, ladies and gentlemen. And then the Necrosphinx just didn't hit me for some reason, like he just fluffed all of his attacks. So I didn't take anything over there. So I managed to win combat by like 1 or something. But yeah, I was
just getting the static.
Yeah, just getting the static. So he had Indomitable though, so he didn't take any wounds. And then he was close enough then for my Dwarf Warriors to run in, like wielding their great axes. So they run in, managed to do, I think I did like 5 or 6 wounds to him with against the Sepulchral Stalkers. And then because of the combat res from the 2 units and the wounds and the banner and the ranks and all that kind of jazz, managed to pop the Necrosphinx and the rest of the Stalkers in combat res.
Nice.
So, yeah. Small victories though, because the rest of my army never actually made it to the Abchabti by turn 6, unfortunately. But
I sympathise greatly with that one, because it's the first game that I played in the event that I went to. It's just a 1-day event. I had a similar experience with Wood Elves, in that he's a very experienced guy, but a really nice guy, and I had a fun game, like talking to him. But I just spent 6 turns moving up my like Longbeards and King and Demon Slayer while he backed off and shot. And it's one of them things, man. I just want to fight. I just want to get in a fight. That's why we're playing Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh mate, I've had some really negative games against Wood Elves in previous editions. Like they're just like, for you Wood Elf fans, they're an amazing army. They look sick. Like I did have a Wood Elf army for a bit. Like just take some combat units as well, guys. Come on, just bring some combat stuff. That's what we want to see. Come on.
Yeah. That's it. And I think it's hard, I think, as a Wood Elf player, or not me as a Wood Elf player, but when everyone else is taking like the best stuff, let's try and go. If you go into a tournament, people are taking the best stuff. I think it's hard for them to then turn that off, because so much in their list is so good. You're spoiled for choice, but you're still going to take the best stuff.
Oh, 100%.
I don't think you need. It's like I had this discussion about Warhawk Riders the other day. It's like, man, Warhawks have AP -2 on everything, but and everyone would love them. But a Wood Elf player has lots of choice, and I'm not going to say they're the best thing ever, but they're very good, but actually written off at the moment by Wood Elf players, because they've got like AP -2 Bodkins and AP -2 like this and that.
Oh, which is brilliant. It's like going back to my first game against Rick. Brilliant. Loved it. It was a really positive game against Wood Elves, actually. And he kind of decided halfway through the game that he's going to drop the dragon, because he doesn't think the dragons works in the Wood Elf army. So he's going to drop his lord onto a stag and try that and see how that goes. Run that up with the War Dancers. So drop a load of stuff out, take a load of war dancers, like MSU units of war dancers. And I think that might be a fun way to go. So I really struggled against the war dancers, actually. Like, I think the war dancers is probably the best thing in his list, actually.
Yeah, the ability for them to get a ward save and just choose what they're doing turn by turn, and having always strikes first is so good.
And the fact
the stag is actually really good.
Oh, like they don't have to change the dance anymore. They can just keep picking the same dance over and over again. So if you're like, oh, I want loads of Ren now, you're like, oh god.
yeah, exactly. Like they're such a solid unit, and it gives that interaction with your opponent's army list. And they're a very good unit. So I think that's one of the things that I'd be recommending to people playing Wood Elves that are like, oh, how do I play a nicer army list? Well, you don't even have to tone it down. You can take some war dancers that are really good.
Oh yeah, nails, absolutely nails. But they're more interactive for both of you. Like, I think if you're, as a Wood Elf player, and you're zipping around and you've got no combat units at all and you're just shooting and plinking, I mean, I can see some people are going to enjoy that, but I think some people get bored of playing like that as well, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one that's already come up in our group. Somebody was saying today, like, how would I play a Wood Elf army without running into that problem? And that's one of the ones, like, having, even like Eternal Guard aren't great, but they're similar points equivalent to lots of other armies' combat unit.
Yeah.
Say like Bretonnians. I know Knights the Realm on foot they're not brilliant. I'm not going to sit here and say that they are, but they're all comparative points values, and they are all then options.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to play in one set way with any army, to be fair. If you want to go down a certain way, you can, which is really good.
So let's get on to game 4.
Right, so this was against Rue. Absolutely great, lovely guy. Brilliant game, really fun. He only brought one level 1 for a Tomb King army.
that was just his minimum Hierophant, was it?
Yeah. He literally was like, right, I'm bringing Royal Host and I want to bring Tomb Guard on chariots, and I will decide who wins the game by turn 2, because I'm either going to smash you or I'll be dead. And I respect that.
Like, extra time for a bit. Well, I suppose it's like recovery from the night out the day before.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, we'll just have a quick game, first game of day 2.
Oh, 100%.
And then we can die on a couch.
Great guy. So basically, he just charged, really. So he sent all of his chariots down onto my right flank, and on my right flank, I had covering by some trees. I had a unit of Iron Breakers, 2 units of Iron Drakes, and then kind of my centre line was warriors, and then my king. And then I had a bolt thrower and a unit of Iron Drakes and an MSU unit of warriors guarding the left-hand flank. So he sent some skirmish horsemen down to them, and his king on dragon was coming at them on the left flank. So they were a bit scared on that side. But like, I think it was 3 units of 5 or 6 chariots just slammed into my right flank. But I managed to kill a load of them with the Iron Drakes, because they're flaming attacks. So obviously really flammable. So on the extra roll of a 4, you're taking more wounds. The Trollhammer torpedoes smashing through them. And then he hit into the Iron Drakes and just bounced. And then there was a really, really funny moment, actually, where he managed to get, like, I think it was 3 or 4 chariots into the flank of one of my Iron Drake units, and was just stuck pushing this one lone Iron Drake back for 3 turns. And that was just luck, because he was winning combat by a couple, but because I was rolling so low, he was doubling me out. So any roll of a fullback in good order would have been a flee, but I was just rolling so well or so badly that he couldn't take it.
So we can't take it away from you. If you've been rolling like positively in a situation, we're not going to take that away from you. We're rolling well, Richie.
Yeah, I know. It's where the double ones really count, isn't it, when you're doing a leadership test?
Exactly. It gives and it takes.
Oh, 100%. That's the thing. It's a dice game. But yeah, absolutely brilliant game. It kind of, like, we knew where the game was going by kind of like turn 3. Like, most of the chariots and stuff died. So we had this dramatic lord off where my lords fought his lord. Like, we spoke about it before, and it was like this. If we were playing like super competitively and like that was the beginning of the game, I wouldn't have accepted the challenge. I would have denied it with the champion and then smashed into the dragon with the entire unit and the lord. But because it was kind of near the end of the game anyway, I was like, yeah, I'll accept it with the lord and we'll just have a bit of a tussle, and kind of played that out. And then, yeah, combat raised him out. But yeah, brilliant game. Such a good guy. And he won the best painted as well, actually. Like, stunning army. Really fun to play against. Hopefully get to play him in the future as well, actually.
Yeah, nice. And this is the, like, Tomb Kings with the big line of Necro Sphinx, is it?
So this one is the red Tomb Kings. So they've got them.
Oh, actually, I think we've actually got a picture of the other Tomb Kings as well.
This is one, a big phalanx unit of spearmen with the with the bowmen in and all that kind of stuff, and the loads of chariots. Like, such a nice looking army. Really fun to play against. I can imagine really fun for him as well, I think.
Yeah. And should we round off with the game 5 then? And then you can sort of give us the main overview of the event.
Yeah, no problem. And so basically, I played against Max from Triple Crown Wargaming. Great guys. Watch the channel. Really fun. So he played a Warriors of Chaos list, which was a fast-moving, Slanesh and undivided list. So it was Knights, double Manticore, which did scare the shit out of me when I come up against him. I saw the rankings of where we were going into that day, and I was like, right, I don't want to play against the double Manticore list. Dwarves, we just don't really have an answer for that stuff. Do you know what I mean? And basically, he charged me. So turn 2 was just
that tactic.
Yeah.
Effective with chaos, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the chaos tide. Like, so everything went in. Like, the Manticore went into the Ironbreakers because he was clever. So he was like, right, what rune of the Ironbreakers got on? I was like, right, hesitation. So he was like, right, I'm not going to charge the Knights into them. So one of the Knights went into my front Iron Drakes, which were covering my Warriors. So they were in front of them. The other unit of Knights went into the other Iron Drakes. He had a unit of Marauder Horsemen, which went into my MSU unit of Warriors. And then this big block of Warriors with Halabards, chosen with Halabards, they actually failed their charge. So they just kind of mooched up in front of my Lord's unit. And then the Manticore Sorcerer just kind of stayed back to kind of do spells and all that kind of stuff. But the Manticore, so for the first turn of combats, which was turn 2, the Manticore beat the Ironbreakers by just a couple. So I give ground, I shield walled back. Just 2 inches, and I was really worried, so I measured it out, and I only had 2 more turns of give ground in, and I was off the board with them, just because I hadn't been able to move before he charged me, so I just couldn't move forward. Yeah. But the Knights, I managed to kill 2 or 3 of them. So this flank of Knights, I managed to kill 2 or 3 of them with the Iron Drakes when they charged me, and I managed to win that combat. So those Knights, I pushed back, then I charged them with the Iron Drakes. The Iron Drakes on this side, I managed to kill 2 of the Knights. I think we drew combat, because he killed a couple of them. So they got locked in, which was probably the best thing that could have happened to them. The Marauder Horsemen lost combat to the 5 Warriors.
Top stuff.
Yeah. And they fled backwards. And by fleeing, they blocked the charge of one of the other units of cavalry that was then going to come around the side. So that was good. So that was just lucky. So it was like all the kind of stars were aligning a little bit. So I was worried before the end of turn 2, but then when that happened, I was like, right, okay, this is all right now. I'm all right. I was worried about the Manticore though. So we carried on the next round of combats. I charged where I could charge, managed to kill like one of the units of Knights. Bolt thrower managed to eviscerate 4 of the chosen Warriors, which was pretty good. I had a bit more shooting, killed all the Dags. And then I managed to get my Chaos. Not my Chaos Warriors. My Iron Drakes died, and then Warriors managed to follow up into the Chaos Knights. So now it was like I'm charging him. It's all's golden. The Manticore though fluffed all of its rolls against the Iron Breakers. Didn't do a single wound. I combat resed him out. I think I won by 3 or 4 potentially. And also, I had double the amount left that he had. So I doubled him out, basically, on unit strength. So he rolled Fibgo, which is obviously flee. So he fled. I didn't catch him, but my Iron Drakes are running up. In that combat with the Warriors killed they didn't kill the Knights. The Knights fled, and I managed to roll an 11 on my pursuit roll and ran over the top of the magic roll because the knights rolled like a bloody 12 or something and got away from me. So I managed to hit the manticore and take him out on the way through. And as soon as that side started to go, it just kind of crumbled around then, and like the chaos chosen unit managed to get into my warriors, my longbeard, sorry, and then the king just and yeah, just managed to turn it around. So that was a 20-0 victory for the dwarves actually.
So fairly solid.
Yeah, it was so funny. I kept getting Robert to come and have a look because on turn 2 I thought I was absolutely screwed because the entire chaos army just slammed into me. And then for some unknown reason, by turn 3 and 4, my army's in the midfield and the chaos is running away. Do you know what I mean?
So actually two questions there popped into my mind. One, are you using your Iron Drakes as a detachment to the Iron Breakers, or are you just...
No. So I don't use them as a detachment. The way that I'm using them is a screen. So I'll have them in front of my units. Yeah. And then they'll be the first thing you charge. So basically, I'm forcing you to take rounds of shooting because I've got quick shot and the dwarven thing. I'm getting 2 rounds. If you charge me turn 2, I've already been able to shoot you like 3 times then. And I'm forcing you to take extra shots. Like by turn 2 or turn 3, when you're getting into me, I don't care if the Iron Drakes are dead. They're only 95 points. And then my unit can then slam into you because they've Iron Drakes have done the max amount of potential they're going to do. So yeah, I've just got them in front of my units. Take the charge, take the first charges, just to get the Overwatch out, basically.
So they're not getting any benefit from the detachment rule. So there's no point having to deploy near by having mass detachments.
No, so you can't take them as a detachment and put command models in. So you can't take the Trollhammer Torpedo.
Yeah. Right. And 2, warriors versus longbeards. Like, would you keep taking longbeards, or because my thoughts at the moment is the longbeards with only heavy armor and shields die so fast anyway. Like I was thinking, like the weapon skill 5 might save them from, say, like Chaos Warriors, things like that, with the weapon skill 5 hitting warriors on 3s. But actually, how it seems to be playing out for me, the extra points for longbeards just hasn't been worth it.
So I actually really like the longbeard. So I was kind of in the same camp, really. I was like, I might as well just take warriors because I'll take the hand weapon shield and the great weapons so you can just switch out and do what you want. Yeah. I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if it was worth taking more warriors and kind of going that way. But the weapon skill 5 is a massive game changer against certain stuff you're fighting. So against Chaos Warriors, they're hitting you on 4s, not 3s. Chaos Knights as well. Like if you got a unit Chaos Knights hitting you, so 4 rank of them, so they've got like 10 attacks on charge.
Yeah.
And they hit 4, so suddenly they're only getting 5 through, and then they've got to roll to wound, and then you're just forcing people to make mistakes with their rolls. Do you know what I mean? Like you're forcing people to not get wounds through by that weapon skill 5. Also, I don't know what the rule's called now. It used to be Old Grumblers. You know the reroll panic.
I think it's still called Old Grumblers.
That's what amazing. Like when it does work, you're like, oh, fair, nice, it's really good.
So I suppose like having these smaller units then allows you to take both the warriors and the longbeards and the Iron Breakers, rather than say the position I've been in is like, I've got the longbeards and then it's either warriors or something else. I can only afford 2 units.
Because we had this discussion, I think it was like a month or 2 ago now, where we were talking about the size of units, and you were like, well, I would rather take a 30-man block over 2 15-man blocks. And I would completely disagree with that, personally.
Do you know what? With dwarfs, I am now open to the opposite. Or to at least trying out, like, I'm gonna play some games and try it your way.
Yeah.
What my experience has been, Chaos and Bretonnians, and I'd say 100% I'd still stick to those as the numbers, is because like Bretonnians, they're just so, like, and Marauders, just so cheap. 30 is nothing, man. Like I just take 30.
Oh yeah,
and it doesn't cost much. And then like even when you get like here's 30 Chaos Warriors or 28, I've run a couple of times, not 30. Just because it makes a nice square, you know. It makes a nice square.
Yeah. Looks like old war, that does, mate. It's good.
Yeah. But once you get to that big, it's like, here is my death block. And even like deny my ranks, I don't care. I'm Chaos Warriors. I'm just going to kill you. Like do this, I don't care. I'm just going to kill you. And so it's worked well for me in that. But then for dwarves, it's just a different method of playing, right?
Yeah. So with the dwarves, you don't have the damage output. You're not scary, like you're not. And you're looking at the dwarf save, and you're like, oh, it's not that good. But I think people kind of underestimate it actually because of the kind of buffs that we can put on. But the damage output isn't really there. You're trying to hold. You're trying to blunt the lance. You're trying to just make it so the opponent's weaker, so you can actually kind of claw up and try and get them. Like we're a real late game army. Like I genuinely think with most of the games that I've played now, that if they were 7 or 8 turns long, I would probably win every game that I play. Just because you kind of grind out and win in combat and taking them down, and then you can kind of march through.
Yeah.
But the games aren't that long, so I'll take draws.
But sometimes you just got to apply your low rolling to the random game length.
Yes.
I mean, come on, like
there is that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure you're playing random game length all the time, not 6 turns. But that's I suppose the 5 games of the event. Now, like some of the general things, and this is why it's popped into my head to like sort of transition now, is what was the format? Was it like six turns, and like, what was the terrain like?
Right. So Rob did this really cool system. So if you go to one of Rob's events, he basically gives you this pack of cards. I think they're on the SquareBased website actually. So go and have a look. That you can print off yourself. But we had them on like real nice cards, and he gave us like this little goodie bag with like an arc thing in. Real nice. Get yourself to his events. Basically, it was like this big pile of cards, and each of them, there's 3 different versions of each mission. So there'll be like open battle, mountain pass, whatever, just all of them, like watchtower, everything. So there's 3 different versions, all of it, ABC. And on each one of those, they've got they've got a mirrored scenery. So basically what he wanted to do was make it so that it was shit for everyone, rather than being it's good scenery for one army and bad scenery for another. He was just like, right, I want it to be the most negative for every army, and this is how we're going to do it. And it's symmetrical on both sides. So there's a hill just outside your deployment, so it blocks line of sight, and then there'll be like a wood just in, and then there'll be a building on the side, and then that's mirrored. And basically, on each of those 3 different variants, the stuff will be in slightly different places and flipped and stuff like that. And you would roll off at the beginning of the game, and the person that lost the roll off would pick one of the cards to veto. So they'd be like, right, fuck that one. I really don't want a hill in your deployment. So they'll take that one out. And then when you've won the roll, you're like, right, so there's 2 here, and you pick the one that you want to play, and then you set the terrain up like that. But it is mirrored on both sides. So it's really good system. Like I'm just going to use that in all of my games going forward now, actually, because it kind of gets rid of the being a dick, being like, well, if we roll off, I'm having a hit in mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's something like, especially for. So there's 2 ways of playing. Like to say, but I don't tend to think at all about the setup of the terrain. Like I'm playing.
But this is the best.
I'm playing like 90% on channel now.
Yeah.
So go on. What were you going to say?
But that's the best thing. You don't have to think about it. It's all preset for the mission, so you can just put it down. It's shit for everyone. It's awesome.
I see. I'm not thinking about the fairness in it. Is what I mean. Like I just want it to look nice and generate sort of ridiculous situations. The more ridiculous, the better. And
for visuals, aren't you, on the channel? Whereas, like, if 2 people are playing a pitch battle, they kind of want it. You don't want to win by having to run through a wood. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I sort of also want that. So it's not just for visuals of the channel. It's just the aesthetic of me playing it. And I do want that sort of, because this is where I'm going to come on to next, like tournament setting, is I want those oddball situations of like, how the hell with this wood here do I deal with this situation?
Yeah, I mean, that still happen though. Does still happen.
But then there's the tournament sort of thing, which is what Rob's obviously going for, where you do want it mirrored, and it's so that we know what we're approaching each time. And so I don't have a favourite of one or the other. It just depends on context of which one I'd be playing for.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like the games that we have at the club that I play on every Friday, like we'll just randomly put like massive crap in the middle of the board to make it look good, or we'll be fighting around a city, or there'll be just like randomly a castle wall going through the middle.
Oh, well, here's one for you, right?
thing.
Do you know you're not allowed terrain within 12 inches of the center of the table?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first named piece of terrain in the terrain section is open ground.
Yeah.
So it's I can't have open ground in the middle of the table.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, that's game design. It happens. But yeah, I think it sounds like a good system that I'd definitely be interested in playing. It's not something I'm adverse to. I think it's just tailored to situation, and this is the perfect situation for exactly what he's done.
Yeah, 100%.
That is what it sounded
like. Stops arguing. Like, so like you can't be like, well, I've got a hill in my deployment and you've got a tree in yours. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of it keeps it fair for both sides. Which when you're playing with your mates, you don't want it to be fair, do you? Like, it's quite fun dicking your mates over or them dicking you over. But in like a tournament setting, it needs to be a bit more kind of smoother and kind of equal, I think.
It also prevents, on more the chill side of it, when you get to a table with your tray of models and you just put it down on one side.
I know what you're going to say.
And then you're like, oh, I'm playing a shooting army, or my opponent's playing a shooting army. The hill's on the other side. I want that other side. Like, it just prevents that, right? Because it's just, well, it's the same.
How many times has that happened to you at a sixth event? Do you know what I mean? Like, all the time.
I don't think I've ever purposefully gone around the other side of the table because I'm too lazy. But like, the amount of times that I've been like, oh, it should have been the other side. Why did I already like basically deploy my models? Because
same. Like, so the last event, so Dave's event, which you weren't out, that Phil was at, I took a gunline Empire army to that one. And that every time everyone was like, oh, you've got 2 Hellblasters and 40 handgunners. Well, I'll have the hill.
Oh, cheers. Like, so just because your army doesn't rely on a hill. Yeah,
exactly. Like, I've got no combat army, damn it.
Yeah. What missions did you play then as well? Like, we've done the terrain.
Right. So basically, he wanted to kind of keep it simple because it was the first one that he's done. So we played 3 versions of Open Battle. And we played Mountain Pass, which is the sides on. That was good fun. Yeah. I enjoyed that. And Watchtower as well. So it's the good old-fashioned Watchtower, but it was worth an extra 200 VPs for the army that captured that at the end of the game, basically. I did see that a few armies actually won because of those 200 VPs, so it was quite like impactful in the games, actually. Because I can remember in like 8th edition, the Watchtower wouldn't really be that impactful for the extra points, but where it is in this, because I think the variable, I think it was 100 points above to be a win. So basically, the way that you did the scoring was, so if I did 1,000 kill points and you did 1,100 kill points, then you would just get a win. So it would be on the score differential, it'd be like an 11-9 win, whereas a 10-10 would be a draw. Then if you scored an extra 200 points, then it would be an 8-12 and kind of going up like to a 20-0. And it was amazing how many draws and stuff there was. So that really goes to show how kind of a nice level that the armies are kind of at the moment, because there were so many draws. And it just goes to show like there's a really nice kind of, I know obviously some armies are better than others, but there's quite a nice balance in the midfield, actually.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things, like, it's one of the better bits about fantasy, right, is because of how unforgiving like wheeling and having these regimented units are. And like, I know some people even prefer kings because you just like pivot and move, but and that's less unforgiving, it's more forgiving. I really like how you're stuck into what you've done on previous turns, and how that can be. And I know it can be like off-putting to some people. I imagine you're the same because we've played a lot of fantasy, right? So we like fantasy, but
it's been years of our life now, mate.
Yeah, too many years. And it's like it's just such a good system for rewarding good decision making.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think a lot of other, because obviously dwarves are doing shit, aren't they? Like they're doing real bad overall. I think.
Oh, just give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Right, so I have found the Wohammer event result statistics. Oh, not statistics, but the percentage wins. And we got dwarves on the 42% range, and it's more important, I think, the lower ones to get your opinion of. But so we've got like dwarves at the high end of the too low. Ogre Kingdoms are like 42%, the same as dwarves. Chaos Dwarves on 40%, which I'm very surprised with actually at the moment.
Yeah, because they're good, man. Chaos Dwarves are good.
Everything that dwarfs have got, and chaosy stuff as well, right?
Well, to be fair, they've got everything that dwarves have got, and then everything that chaos has got. So
yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh yeah, of course I've got like a shaman that's great in combat. That's a shaman with magic. You've got Skaven 38%, and it'd be interesting to know if anyone was playing Skaven.
Well, the blunderbuss is a D3 damage as well, right? So
for Chaos Dwarfs.
Yeah,
man, and just having them on like the same level warrior unit and their ballistic skill 4 is just cracking.
So, all of my unit are Trollhammer torpedoes. Woo!
Exactly. An Empire of Man finally on 35% win rate.
So I think the thing is, I think with Empire, I think they're not in a weird place. I think they're in the place where they've always been. And I think everyone is trying to play them how you want to play Empire. Because I've got a couple of Empire armies, and I want to play them with big blocks of dudes with detachments, and I want my massive unit of 40 halberdiers walking up the board. You just can't do that in this edition. You need to like fold into the heavy armor. Like you need to go down the Demigryph Knight route, really. I just think the way that people want to play them, I just don't think it's viable. I don't reckon in this edition. Maybe if you just took like 1 million MSU units and just tied your enemy up forever, that could be quite an interesting way to play them, maybe, potentially.
Just stacking the combat res, maybe. Like I'll just go and turn off the order forms and printer for all of my Empire stuff then.
Yeah.
Like because that's exactly it. I think it's a lot of the time with Empire, you want to play it because I want to play a historical army.
Yeah.
Against all of these monsters. It's not that I don't want that I hate monsters. It's that I want to specifically see normal humans attempt to batter that troll.
Well, the humans are the underdog, aren't they, in the setting? And they're also who we can identify with the most. You know, it's like who would be this person who is not shitting his britches when I'm getting attacked by a troll. So that's the thing. Like you can almost imagine yourself in the place of that humble like town.
Oh no, I am shitting my britches when I'm facing that troll. That's the difference. Is like I can't imagine that Empire Man not shitting his britches because I would be shitting my britches so much.
Oh, they're just hard as nails, them blokes, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And he's just like I can't identify with the Bretonnians because I don't know what he's like to get kissed by the lady or like be.
Not either.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's some Arthurian legend in there. Come on, Richie, we're not Philistines here. We've got to hold on to our innate Britishness, rep the Arthurian pride. Nice. Yeah, exactly. But he's as you say, the main one that is relatable because that's why I sort of been thinking about them as the next army. But you reckon like Demigryph Knights lean into the steam tank maybe because of the high toughness?
Like the 2-up save's just so strong. Like, and they've got quite a few attacks. Kind of lean into that. Lean into the maybe take 2 level 4 wizards minimum. Get them on Pegasus. Get them down each flank. Take the lore familiar so you can pick the vortexes. If you're throwing a fire vortex down both sides of a line, you're probably going to like do at least like I don't know a quarter of the army in a turn, maybe.
So that's what we're working on. Yeah.
That's what you want, mate. That's what you want.
And then just do that for 4 turns and take with the rest of your 1,600 points, whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's literally what we need to do. Maybe just 1 unit of greatswords because I love them. Like I always put greatswords in my army. Like they're always cack in every edition. They're always terrible, but I love them. Like absolutely love them.
Yeah, he's one of them things. It just doesn't with the basic human stat line. They maybe needed like the hammerer treatment, I think, where you get extra stuff when you are charged.
Charge, you know what I mean? I reckon they should have got, when you charge in, their strength 6 -3 because they're empowered by Sigmar. That's what I think they should have got, I think.
Yeah, or even just like because they're even only weapon skill 4. Like maybe they just need to be weapon skill 5. And
why are they weapon skill 4? Like, these guys have been fighting Chaos Warriors for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are the chosen people. They're beset on all sides by the Beastmen Brayherds. And yeah, do you know what? I'm surprised in these results. Beastmen Brayherds at 63% at the top. Like, I know Tom's army is strong, but
I think I don't know. Everyone does dip into the same kind of thing. I think everyone's kind of worked out what's good in the Beastmen list, like the machine gun shaman, like all of the minuses to the debuffs to hit them and stuff like that. Everyone's kind of gone, toughness 6, yeah, sweet, and like gone into the chariots and like the singular Tuskors running around. Like, I think everyone's kind of worked out what's good, and I think it's relatively obvious what's good. Whereas in a lot of the weaker perceived armies, I don't think it's obvious what's good. I think.
Yeah. That's. I think that probably sums it up a little bit. Like, because even like Wood Elf realms, very clear what they're going to be doing well. Lizardmen, I've not got the most experience. If only Ian was here, he knows more about Lizardmen.
Yeah.
But Wood Elves, very obvious what you want to be doing. And of these ones at the top of the meta report that Wohammer's done, they're ones that I think have a clear strategy in mind from the start. And it's even if they're not the easiest to play, they're the easiest to know what you want to do. Yeah.
That's the thing. So I haven't even looked at the statistic. I probably should, but I'm guessing it's all the top ones. It's access to level 4 wizards, yeah. It's access to toughness 6 and access to either dragons or kind of toughness 6 equivalent dragons, yeah.
So here we go. The top ones: Beastmen Brayherds, Orcs, Lizardmen, Wood Elves. Then Tomb Kings, which have a nasty regen wounds dragon build. That can be really good.
Or the double dragon, double necro sphinx. Lovely.
Lovely. Bretonia is the next one down, which is, I think the poster boys this edition, I think they deserved it. They've not had an army book since 6th, right? Yeah. And the Hippogriff Lord is good for just being able to hide around units and then just like spear out and do someone.
I think there's a couple of core rules that people have kind of been sitting on and maybe not read, which kind of caught me out as well, which the Bretonnians can do really, really well. So if you've got a unit in combat, right? So if you've got a unit here in combat with a unit, and a unit of Bretonnian Knights has hit both of them, and you're staggered, so that unit could get into this unit if it wipes this unit. If that unit's killed in, say, this is turn 2, so this is all happening in one turn. If that Bretonnian Knight unit then overruns and hits into this unit that's engaged with another unit, both those units can then fight.
Yeah.
That unit can fight again, which I think is a little rule that the Bretonnians can really start to snowball with, which I know a lot of people don't play with. But I think a really good Bretonnian player will be able to snowball that and just murder stuff, really.
Well, I think that ties into what you were saying with the dwarfs and gyrocopters adding to the rear of combats before. It's something that I managed to do with charging a gyrocopter in, then pings that gyrocopter into another unit, and it just adds that even if it's not the kills, it's the combat res, like in multiple combats by just overrunning.
Yeah.
I think is something that, because you count in multiple combats rather than say, this is comparing to 6th, which, like, obviously up until January was the one that we were playing. You didn't do your overruns until everyone had fought those combats.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes in. And I believe you could do like the multiple combats in a turn in 8th, but yeah, it's been a big change, I think, in our sort of thinking. And the fleeing centre to centre as well, and that then compounds that, because when you angle your unit, if you've got 2 units in a line and one of them has been charged by a smaller unit, when you angle and then like overrun, that can then send you into the flank of a unit that's engaged in the other one.
Yeah, and also the fact that you have to catch units on the board now rather than just beat their dice rolls as well is massive. Like, a lot of them are probably going to get away.
Well, also, but if you do manage to get that rear, they've got a much shorter distance to have to run.
Yeah.
To be able, like to actually get into the unit, which is just so rewarding of better positioning.
Oh yeah.
But, and harsher if you don't.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something I'll say about Old World. It definitely does reward you for really good play, and like it does punish you for little things really. But that's why we play, right? We play it because like it's a cruel mistress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's one of them that it's actually quite easy to just learn and get going with a game. I think. Do you know if you just want to like play some rank and flank, it's good for that. But then if you really want to drill down into like the positioning of units and how you're going to do that across a game against various armies, the skill ceiling is very high.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Right. Well, shall we wrap it up there? And hopefully we'll be able to get you to do some further event reports as you go to more events.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I've got quite a few booked in, so I'll keep offering my piece as I go forward.
Expertise, Richie. Expertise.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do this well again. So I've peaked in the first ever tournament, and I'll take that. Because it's the first one. But yeah, no, I'm just gonna submarine from now, mate.
In summary, what would you say that you like the most about the Dwarfs? I think is the thing to end on.
So what I liked about the Dwarves the most was just the fact that you're just like holding. So people slam into you. So you make your decision at the beginning of the game what's going to happen because you've got no control after turn 2. And like after the deployment, that's it. You're set. It's like the opposite of having a frenzy unit. Do you know what I mean? You're set. You're not moving. People are going to dictate what charges. So you've got to set your traps and stuff before the game even starts. So you've got this kind of like extra kind of like, ooh, should I put that there? Should I put that there? I really like that because you've got no movement. You're like, right, I'm setting this now. You're going to hit me, and either my plan works or it completely fucks up and I get tabled. So I like that. It's good.
That was the wrong answer, Richie. Anyone that's watched the Honest Wargamers TSN wrap-up video.
Go on, mate. Do you want to ask again? Here we go.
What is the best thing about playing Dwarfs, Richie?
Mate, it's like beards.
It's the beards. And with that, we'll catch everyone later. In a bit.
See you later, guys.